Hello and welcome to Keepsales. Now in this video, we are going to look at what sender IDs are when it comes to using the bulk SMS feature on Keepsales. So in very simple terms, what do we mean by a sender ID? A sender ID is an identity that is tagged to a message that is sent via text to a customer or to somebody. Okay, so in a much simpler explanation, when you send a text message to somebody or to anyone, the message that is displayed to that person has your identity or name attached to that message. So now this helps the recipient know that this particular message is coming from this person. Okay, so in Keepsales, when you use the SMS feature, okay, and you decide to send whatever message that you decide to craft, okay, to your customer, they are able to receive the message with a name on it. So in this video, we are going to focus on how to create a sender ID that you prefer. Okay, so let's get on with it. Okay, so we are looking at we are still looking at the bulk SMS feature. Okay, so when you click on the main menu, you are able to see a bulk SMS and marketing feature over there. So let's click on that, and then we click on bulk SMS management. Okay, so it brings us to this particular page. Okay, so over here, it gives you a little bit of an introduction to what the bulk SMS feature is. So you can actually take your time. Okay, sorry, you can actually take your time, to go over the information that is there. Okay, so over here you're able to know how do I start sending bulk SMS to my customers. Okay, you can read on what type of bulk SMS functionality is available. Is it expensive? Okay, so you have all this information available to you. Okay, so once you are done, you just click to close. Okay, so this is your bulk SMS page. Okay, this is where all the bulk SMS management action is going to take place. Okay, so like I mentioned, we are going to look at what the sender ID is. So when you come over here to your left, okay, you notice a sender ID displayed here. Okay, so it says that the name that is displayed as the sender of your messages. Okay, so you see over here we have what we call Sumundi Send. Now by default, okay, on when you visit this feature for the first time, by default we give you a sender ID, okay, which is Sumundi Send, okay, the company sender ID. So if you do not want to use this particular default sender ID, you can click on change. Okay, all right, so when you click on this, okay, it brings you over here. Now this is where you are able to create or choose whichever sender ID that you want. Okay, now there are some guidelines that we have to take note of. So let's go through the guidelines one by one. So when you look at the first one, it says that a sender ID is required when you would like to send branded messages with your business's name. So by default, like I mentioned earlier, that your sender ID is Sumundi Send. Okay, so this is like an important requirement. Okay, that your message always has to have a sender ID. Okay, and if you've not created one, when you send an SMS to a number to your customer or to anyone using Keepsales, the sender ID that's going to be seen by the person that receives the message is Sumundi Send. Okay, so when we come to the second one, it says that other pre-provided sender IDs you can also choose from are fab.vendor, fav.shop. Okay, so when you need to send, when you've not received your sender ID yet, and I'll talk about what that means, okay, and you need to send some messages around, okay, you can either choose from any of these ones as well. Okay, so now the third one is that you may apply for a custom sender ID for your business using the form provided, but be sure to take note of the following. Okay, so now when you want to use a custom sender ID, that is, you want to use your own sender ID, you actually have to apply for it. Okay, you actually have to apply for it. So it's not like you just click on change and then you type, okay, and then immediately, okay, that is what you use. No, you actually have to apply, okay, to use that sender ID. Okay, so now these are the things you have to take note of, okay, regarding your application for your sender ID. So the first is your ID should not be generic and should be in line with your business name or services that you provide. Okay, so if you sell, let's say, it has to be in line with your business. It has to be something that your customers can easily see that, oh, okay, so it came from this particular business or it came from this particular shop, okay, that I deal with. Okay, so that is one thing we have to take note. The second is that your sender IDs must have an 11 character limit. Okay, so you can't go beyond 11 characters. Okay, it has to be 11 characters. So for example, if your business name is Emerald Supermarket, your sender ID can be Emerald in short. Okay, so it means you can't add a supermarket. So if you add a supermarket, it becomes more than 11 characters. You actually get more than 11 characters. Okay, so it has to be, the maximum you can go is 11. Okay, so now the third is that your sender IDs are validated within 24 to 48 working hours. Okay, so it takes a little bit of time, not too much time, but once you apply, okay, it's going to take you within a day or two, okay, to a day or two, and then your sender ID is going to be ready. Okay, now once your application is done, you receive a message that has been received. Okay, if you have to redo it again, you receive a message that will tell you to, reapply again. Maybe there were some issues with how you applied and stuff like that. Yeah, so once the processes are completed, and then your sender ID has been finally validated, okay, you receive a message, okay, that will tell you that, okay, you can now go on to use that sender ID. Okay, but then the fact that you apply doesn't mean that you can use it, instantly. Okay, you have to be notified that you can now use a sender ID. Okay, so that is by the way. So I think okay, the last is that sender IDs are free to raise in Ghana and in Nigeria. So if you are in Ghana, if you are watching this and you are in Ghana or you are in Nigeria, it's actually free to create a sender ID. Okay, so we also have to take note of that as well. Okay, so when they say check our pricing document for other countries, so you can click on this pricing. Okay, when you click on this, okay, it actually we are able to access the pricing. So you see that a PDF file has been downloaded. So when you click on it, okay, you are able to actually view, okay, the pricing, okay, associated with the SMS. Okay, so over here, if you are in Ghana, this is how your pricing is going to be for the network that you use. Okay, so 15 pesos per SMS, okay, within this particular plan, which is a 0 to 49.99 Ghana cedis. If you are going to pay more than 50 cedis, so between 50 to 99, okay, you're going to actually pay lesser. If your plan is 100 plus, you're also going to pay way lesser. Okay, so like I stated in the introduction video, the more you buy, okay, the more SMS messages you can send. Okay, so then the pricing, you can see the pricing for Ghana, for the country, for those in Ghana. You can also see for those in Nigeria. Okay, and then you can also see for those in Kenya. So if you are in Nigeria, this is going to be your pricing. Okay, so whichever network that you use, you check that. And then for Kenya too, this is how your pricing is going to be like. And then when you come down here, we have something called the sender ID pricing. So if you remember, I mentioned that the sender ID application is free for those in Ghana and those in Nigeria. But if you're in Kenya, if you're watching this from Kenya, you are going to actually have to pay to set up your sender ID as well. Okay, so this was also, by the way, you can check that out, okay, over here. Okay, so I can close the tab. Okay, so now let's move on to the application. So this is where you do the application. Okay, so I mentioned earlier, okay, in our first that there are some sender IDs, okay, which are available. So this is where you are able to choose, okay, from the default IDs that we have. Okay, so when you've not created your own custom sender ID, this is actually where you choose. Okay, but once you've created it, this is where you enter. So it says that please make sure this is an ID you have applied for and has been approved, else your messages may be rejected or default to a random ID. Okay, so what this means is if you have received notification that your sender ID, you can now use your sender ID. Okay, anytime you can just come over here, okay, and then you enter, let's say, the name of your shop. Okay, as stated here is Emerald. Okay, this is what you decided to use. Okay, so once you have that, you can just click to save changes. Okay, so when you click on that, okay, it tells you that your sender ID, okay, has been saved. So anytime you send a message, this is the sender ID that is going to be tagged to the message. Okay, all right, so now let's come to the application. Okay, so you have to enter your email address. Now it says that these are required. So if you see any field that has an asterisk, okay, it means it's very important. You actually have to provide us with that information. So first you have to enter your email address, then you have to enter the country that you are applying from, then you give us your number. Okay, so it says please use a number which can actively receive SMS messages or is easy to reach you on for feedbacks in regard to your application. So it means you have to give us a number that we can reach you on, okay, in case we have to send you a message regarding the application that you just did. Okay, don't give us a wrong number, don't give us another number that is that you are not you don't probably use actively. Okay, so you can also then you give us the business name, okay, your business name, and then you give us the sender ID, and like I mentioned earlier, the sender ID has to be a maximum of 11 characters with no spaces. Okay, with no spaces at all. Okay, so once you are done with that, then you click on submit. Okay, now when you click on submit, okay, the company will receive the form, and then a notification will be sent to you to update you on the status of your application. Okay, so this is that for your sender IDs. So I hope we get what sender IDs are, and then how important it is to you if you are going to use the bulk SMS feature. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Okay, so so before I end this, you realize that once our sender ID was saved, what we had here was changed to from Sumundi Send. Previously it was Sumundi Send, and then it was changed to Emerald. Okay, so once you click to save changes, it's going to appear here. Okay, and this would be the sender ID that has been approved by the company that you can use. Okay, so let's take note of that as well. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be looking forward to seeing you again in our next video. So do drop by, do watch our next video. I'll see you again. Thank you so much again, and have a nice time. Bye bye.